February 11th, 2012, I was riding with some friends on motorcycles or Harleys. I had a catastrophic failure on my bike and found myself laying in a field staring up at the star-filled sky, and I knew that I had lost my leg. My friend Chris was sliding up next to me to put the tourniquet on, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, Chris, is it really gone?" And he looked at me and he said, "Yes, it's gone." I told him to let me go, because all I knew at that point in my life was everything that I had accomplished, and I had accomplished everything that I'd wanted to up to that point in my life was on two legs. And I didn't, in that instant, I didn't think there was any other way. Served in the Navy for a total of 28 years, retired Navy Special Operations, EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal, retired as a chief. Born and raised in Washington State. I left home when I was 18 to go in the military, and I served 4 years and left the service, and I had a 10-year break where I did reserve time. During that break, I left service because I wanted to become a fireman. That's when I first experienced what I know now to be PTSD. As a volunteer fireman early on, starting that path to be a fireman, the very first call I ever went on, and I still remember it vividly now, was a little girl. She was about 3 years old, was hit by a car. And when we arrived on scene, the family was out in the front yard. She was in the street. And she ran out in front of this car, and the driver never saw her, and hit her with the front of the car and went over her with both wheels, and knew that they had hit something. So they stopped and looked around and didn't see it. So they backed up, and they backed up over her with both wheels. I've always compartmentalized things really well, and I responded to that and just kept driving on. You don't realize what's happening to your mind and your body and your life. My mind literally made a 180. I am 100% going to overcome this. I overcame all of that, returned to full duty, and I served 9 years on a metal leg. I did not realize that I was suffering for what we know now as PTSD from being a fireman, from my time in combat, and then from my leg injury and the things that I dealt with and had to overcome post-injury until about 2018. Had a huge impact on my life. I had relationship problems. I had financial problems.
Yeah, sure did. And the pink one. Who's this one?
That's me.
Who's me? That isn't you.
And looking back on it now, I know a lot of things that happened in my life were because I wasn't willing to face that obstacle that whether it was because I didn't realize that I had it or I did not want to admit that I had it.
I came down here for a purpose this morning. I'm gonna hunt and then just pull my deer. And gosh.
That's the way to do it.
15 minutes later, I had a release.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations, man. That's one heck of a couple of days for you.
Running, archery, and hunting, and then the woman that I am now married to are three of the things that really helped me overcome a lot of that darkness and get to where I am today, where I'm able to help other veterans and amputees try to realize that what I call, I'm limitless outdoors. I tell people, be limitless. Not everybody can be a podium runner at Boston Marathon, but I've proven that anybody that wants to run Boston, you can go train and you can qualify for, and you can finish Boston. You can be your own podium runner. You just have to make the decision to do it. And so that's what we're doing here. We're up in Wisconsin. I met Chris Ham of HHA through another good friend of mine who I met through hunting and archery, Al Quackenbush. And we're here now for the HHA USA veteran shoot that they have up here, which is helping other veterans struggling with PTSD.
Home is home. Out left. Out.
I found that long distance running, physical fitness, and the outdoors really started taking me down the path of recovery and mental health and making me a better person.
I told Aaron this last year, but I joked about it, with him pulling his deer out of the woods, but I'm like, here's a guy with one leg kicking my butt. Why I'm videotaping and I'm out of breath watching him pull this deer out, and I've got two working legs.
I was very fortunate that narcotics and synthetics, they did not have the same impact on me that it has on others. I found my outlets through running, physical exercise, and getting back to my roots in the outdoors. It took a few years. I served 9 years on a metal leg, and through that time, my desire was to return to a deployable status and be a chief on an EOD team, which I obtained.
There's still a part of me that still wants to go do that, even though I'm old and I'm getting slow and and I shouldn't be there, but the want is still there. I'm like the old Labrador with bad hips that still wants to go outside and chase the ball.
My last tour in the Navy, 3 years, was in Southern Maryland. And when I took orders there, my two options to live were going to be either down in Alexandria or in the rural area of where the small testing facility and base that I would be working at, where it was located. And I started reflecting at my life at that point and looking at some of the problems that I was experiencing. And I decided I just needed some time alone to reset.
Everybody at some point, if you go out of your house and you live any kind of life at all, you're going to experience a 9/11. You're going to get in a motorcycle accident and lose your leg. You're going to end up at a Route 91. In my case, you're going to get divorced. We've all had crappy things that have happened to us. And it's not fair to compare traumas. Trauma is trauma. And the awesome thing about what is going on here, and it's taken some of us longer than others to get to the other side of it, but those things don't define us. They're part of our story, but they don't, it's not our identity.
I can connect with people because I'm much happier now than I was 15 years ago. And that's full circle for me. So helping myself and helping other people has now become my passion.